excited to have Nick with us today from Next Home. Hey, Nick, how's it going?
It's going well. Happy Friday.
Yeah. So, Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself for anyone who doesn't know you, your real estate business, how you started, and kind of where you are today.
My name is Nick Flerlage. I'm with NextHome Suncoast. So we're on the Suncoast of Florida, as our name says, in Venice specifically, and have been there since I've been working in the real estate since about 2005. So have a little bit of experience in the market, seen a lot of changes like everybody has, and it's just a high growth area. A lot of people want to be in Florida, so that's good for us. The market is ever changing, but it's been very good. And so I've been with Next Home since 2019. So 2019 is when we started with them, and
Cool.
haven't looked back.
Yeah, very cool. So, what did you first think of Homestack when you learned that you could get a branded app, and why is having an app important today?
Yeah. So our team, when we were first started learning about the having our own app, I mean, everyone was just really excited. It was just a way for us that we saw, as we're always in real estate. We're inundated with a lot of different things that are supposed to be the next magic pill, so to speak. And the app is something that we'd already talked about. So when we were exposed to the Homestack, the platform, and everything that was offered, it was like, wow, this is exactly what we've been kind of thinking about. And the ability to customize and to take it, further and just be able to differentiate ourselves from our competition was great. There's a lot of apps out there, but they're kind of they're so, I call them sterile, because they're all alike, and they all kind of look alike and feel alike and do the same things, and they're just not, they don't have that personal touch that you have that ability with the Homestack app.
Yeah, and people don't really want to take something tangible anymore. They're like, can it just be on
Yeah,
the phone? Right.
exactly. It's kind of funny because in our area we have it's a high big retirement area. So our average age of our customers is is probably a little higher than other parts of the country. And if you look at even looking at that data, you would be like, oh, well, they're not going to be into the app. Well, quite the contrary. That generation, the retirees, they're more into their phones than people realize, and they are just, they just eat it up. So, and they're always, if you look around, you just go around town, everybody's on their phone. So, and that's why the mobile app, everybody was talking about websites, and for years it was all about the website, but now, if you don't have an app that where you can connect and really communicate with them, I think that's the way to go, and that's the future. I think that's where we're headed. It's not going. I don't think that's going away anytime.
So let's talk a little bit about ROI. I
Yep.
think sometimes, agents or brokers are like, what's the bottom line? How is this going to help my ROI? How is this going to, help to build my business? And some of it is very tangible, some of it's intangible, but it's similar to social media, right? Like, how do you
Yeah.
pinpoint if somebody found you there, or if that was the moment that they converted?
Right.
So how has this, affected your ROI, and how are you planning to use it to kind of
Say
build
is
your
that
business over time?
we have several active buyers right now using it. And like today, for instance, right before I got on this call, I'm actually was back and forth with someone who just got the app yesterday, and we already have two scheduled showings for Monday. Okay, again, some of this doesn't, we incubate these customers for a while sometimes before we ultimately close a transaction down the road, and we just have, and that's where you kind of start measuring, okay, this is came directly from the app. I think in this changing environment, especially with the settlements and all that stuff that's going on, that's where also I see a big application of the app, because it about allows us, again, it's going to be about solidifying our ways of communication, because we can do, we can have these push notifications out to everybody on the app and stuff. I think it's pretty instantaneous. It's very easy. So again, I think going forward, when customers, when they're faced with the post settlement real estate, what does that look like? And they have to now, they'll be interviewing their buyer's agents just like they interview their seller's agents. And I think for a buyer's agent to present the app and really stand out in that fashion, it's just going to be maybe that pushes the needle just far enough where they pick you and they sign that broker agent agreement with you as opposed to your competitors because you have something that's relatively novel. It answers all their questions and it's easy. So I think that going forward.
Absolutely. How have you used the app with sellers?
So the app, we use the Homestuck app with sellers by as soon as we get a listing, we make sure everybody that's involved on the selling side, no matter how many parties there are, have the app loaded and are familiar with the app.
Mhm.
And what we do is we set up a search for their specific neighborhood because one of the biggest um, questions we'll get is, "Hey, what's going on? The house up the street is sold. So do you know how much it's sold for and all this other information." So what we do is we do a custom search for their neighborhood, make sure that they have that preloaded on their app so that now they're in the know. So they're not calling us asking us, "Hey, that there's a new listing down the street, how much is it listed for?" Because they've already got a notification. They've already got that hey, there's a new listing. So
Yeah.
that's
But
a
it's still
very
coming from you, right? Because it's coming from your app.
it's coming from the app. Yeah. So it's custom to them in their neighborhood. So, I mean, these searches, I mean, the filters are pretty robust. You can get it very, very specific. So I think that's one of the best ways with the sellers. And not only that, sellers are often buyers, right? So
Mhm.
they start being or familiar, and then we can monitor, we can see on the back end their behaviors, their behavior, like are they looking or what neighborhoods are they looking at and so on and so forth. So there's some really good information that comes from that.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you recommend to, agents who are just starting out to not be intimidated about using technology with their buyers, sellers to help them win some listings, and kind of just jump in?
Yeah, great question. I think using technology, if they're just starting out or if they're a little apprehensive, they
Mhm.
just have to some of the things we feel uncomfortable with, that's the way we grow, right? So I think it's important. My recommendation is, and this is how we approached it. I wanted everyone on our team to be really familiar with the ins and outs of the app prior to launching, just so that they could be an expert on it and answer any questions that would come up, and to just really show how easy it was. So I think to get that buy-in, whether it's yourself or you have other agents that you're supplying this for, is to have a comfort level with it yourself and think about all the applications and all the things that it can do, and realize that over 90% of everybody's on their mobile device. That's where that relationship is, whether they're finding, one good thing that we started doing, I think reviews, for instance, are some of the
Mhm.
currency, especially going forward. People are depending on reviews to select agents, especially buyers agents, like never before. To
Yeah.
have that direct link in your app to your reviews, so they can just go boom, and you're just promoting yourself or your company or what have you. So, I think use it as a self promotion tool is fantastic. There's a lot of different applications. You could throw it out on social media, whether it be a link or a QR code,
Yeah.
postcards. We're really starting to go after it in a lot of different ways to promote it, to get people to sign up. So
Yeah.
that's where I think this is great technology. It's right in our wheelhouse of it's like custom made for our industry. And it's there's everybody is when they're riding around, they're looking on their phone and they're doing drive-bys. I mean, that's how a lot of buyers start. So, we're right there with them when they're starting. So how great is that? And if they, at the end of the day, when they're finished looking around at properties, if they want to find a restaurant, they just go to our app, go hit restaurants and say, okay, what's a good place to eat? And it's there as well. So, we're trying to apply, just appeal to the whole lifestyle instead of just specifically real estate. So we just want that added value. So, and I think the Homestuck app is allowing that.
Yeah, yeah, you're riding along with them. I love it. Every step
Yeah,
of the way, right?
every step of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, awesome, Nick. Thank you so much for sharing your app stories with us and for being here with us today. And
And
we
there's
look
our
forward to.
there's our app, our icon there, graphic in the background there. It's
Oh,
it's
cool.
kind of blown up, but It's very orange, so we wanted a little touch. We wanted that NextHome in there, but we also wanted to be kind of non-threatening. So our app is Suncoast Life, and it's very well received, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the coolest part is that it can be customized to you and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And it
Yeah,
can change.
yeah.
I mean, it's just ever changing too. So, we're in a very dynamic business. So why not have a very dynamic app to work with, right? So it needs to change and grow with us because, sometimes we don't know what's the environment or what the landscape's going to look like 2 months from now. So the ability to be able to change and to modify, on the fly is, I think that's really, really great, ability. So.
Yeah, we've done that as a company too. And that kind of leads me to, our kind of next question is, why Homestack over any other, app real estate app company?
Yeah, so we looked at a lot of different, and I've worked in a lot of different app environments. But what we liked is that the branding, we're not overshadowed. Like you can self-brand, and that I think was a very important. So yes, Homestack is a big part of that, but it doesn't overpower you. So it's you can promote yourself a little bit. So that was a little self-serving, that part of it. The ability to add other things other than just search for real estate, because quite frankly, there's a lot of apps that do that. Okay, there
Mhm.
are, but your information is not secure and private, which so one of the big selling features when you're promoting this or encouraging your customers to use it is that it's a safe environment. They're not going to be inundated with a bunch of sales inquiries or people calling them out of the blue for who knows what. And it's just it's for kind of for your eyes only. So I think that to be able to offer them that safe haven, that bubble that they can work in and not worry that, oh gosh, my phone's gonna blow up now with 3 or 4 agents trying to get my business. I think it's a big selling feature. Nobody likes that anymore. I mean, everybody's gets so many calls every day, and they're tired of it. So
Yeah, yeah, completely, completely. I think, for a while we were all putting ourselves so out there.
right.
And now we're kind of like, no, we need to like dial it back and
Oh my
and
gosh.
bring it in a little bit more, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know personally I get 3 to 5 calls a day from different and who knows, it's from a site or a Facebook ad or who know, where
Yeah,
that
yeah,
information gets shared. But and especially in our very hyper competitive industry, you're going to have you can get some pretty aggressive calls sometimes. So,
yeah, yeah. And I think the app gives you a little bit more of that stickiness with your clients.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Once they get in the environment and they realize that what it is, they really enjoy it. Actually, I mean, some of them, I mean, dare I use the word fun? It's kind of fun for them to go in there and start tooling around in it and seeing what it can do. I mean, it can do I mean, it does a lot. It's very, the searching, I kind of downplayed the ability to search for real estate, but that is, the base, right? That's the big base. And that it does extremely well. It's updated in real time to the MLS. I mean, it's on point, so that's good. And then the ability, the way that the filters are set up, they're really intuitive, easy to use, and you can set up your custom searches. It's just it's just so easy, and I think that's the key.
Listen,
And it's something that they're
home
familiar
should be
with. It,
fun, right?
yeah, if they've used and plus, some apps have a learning curve, and a lot of people have already, dare I say, worked in like the environments of your Trulias and your Zillows and all these other big consumer monsters, these sites. And this is not going to feel too different than that, except
Mhm.
it's going to feel a little bit more personal, and you have some of that hyper local knowledge added to it. And then having that ability and not having your information shared, I think is a big plus. So,
Yeah, yeah, because it is similar to the big box ones,
oh
but
yeah,
you do feel like there is that personal agent kind of leading you on the journey.
yeah. Yeah, and they've taken that selection. They've like they have that relationship. And again, this is just about nurturing that, whether it's a new relationship or an existing one. It's just moving along the know, like, and trust scale, and getting people just to feel really comfortable with you. And you can include a lot of other things. Like I have, links onto, like, for instance, my blog. So the blog every day, so they can go in and start learning other things. We have the link, the when you send your card out as an agent, you can just shoot it's almost like a business card, but it's your app, and they can download it, but it has all your social media links right there, for instance, so they can start checking you out and getting comfortable with you. We're scaling trust is what we're doing, really, right? So we're just doing it on a big scale. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Nick, so if anyone wants to follow along with you, speaking of social media, where can they follow you, kind of reach out to you, or
yeah,
just kind of follow along?
yeah. So if you just go to if you just search NextHome Suncoast, just plug that in anywhere, it'll come up whatever you're at, whatever platform, and it'll take you right there. So it's
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you for being here with us today. And we will we're excited to follow along with you and kind of see how you guys blow this up.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.